So recently, I've been doing a lot of recordings with a friend of mine using AI generated vocals. And it's been a lot of fun. Simple as that. And I felt like, I don't see a lot of material out there, musicians using AI in this way. I'm sure some people are if I go digging some more. But I felt like, damn, if I'm having this much fun with this, maybe I should throw something together and about it, and maybe others may be interested. More specifically, drummers might be interested. So I figured, well, let me put something together. So what I'm going to play here is a song we've been working on that's using AI vocals, and there might be a little bit of an AI synth in the back. I don't think we're going to use it, but it's there. But everything else was done by myself, the drums by me, mixing by me. My friend, his name's Whalen, he's doing the guitars. The lyrics are his. He's kind of massaged the melody that kind of comes out of Suno in a way that he won't. He explains it to me. I don't use the tools he uses, but to do that. But he's kind of has his own way, and he doesn't really want to divulge it, to be honest, because it's still a work in progress. He's constantly refining that. But he's come up with some pretty good vocals, and they just keep getting better and better. And then, of course, he does his part. He usually has a drum track sometimes, not always, but a lot of times, because he prefers to play to that than a click track. He's just used to that. So he'll put a drum track together, either like 4 on the floor, if it's a straight 4, or he'll actually let Suno, or not let Suno, but he'll put what he has in the Suno to get a drum track. So when he starts to record his guitars, he has something there. He just finds he can track better with that. And I get it. But the thing is, what I want to point out, and this is vital, what I'm doing here, I tell him, do not let me hear the drum track whatsoever. I don't want it. I don't want it in my head. I feel like I'll be tainted, and I won't be able to do my thing. And that's what'll happen. And it's similar, like I used to try to do play-alongs, right, to kind of explore playing my own stuff, right? Listening to some material and then putting my thing in there, what I feel the drums should do. It's kind of hard to do with play-alongs because, once again, you've usually heard somebody else play to it, or even the person who created the play-along, has played to it, and it kind of sets you off in a bad direction. You're going to have that in your head. You can't get rid of it. But those play-alongs usually, to me at least, are really suited towards you developing technique on a kit, or also grooves, etc. That's what it's really about. But I wanted something like this. The only way to get this, other than what we've been doing, is you have to work. You got to get enough people to do it, and that's kind of difficult sometimes. But it is. It just is. Especially to find somebody who can sing, because like what we've been doing is a lot of various material. To have one singer to do that would be damn near impossible. But we can get multiple singers, and we can basically do all kinds of different styles, whatever we want to try, which is great, too, because it's allowing me not only to explore the kit and playing, but also mixing, because I'm doing all the mixing, which is a lot of fun. So I felt like, I gotta throw something together and see if anybody else might be interested in what we're doing with this and how I'm using it. So anyhow, I'm going to jump right in because I don't want to be on this too long. But what I'm going to do is play some stuff. I just heard some of these drums today for the first time myself. That came from Suno. He did use Suno in this particular song to have something to play to. So I'm going to be listening to some of this. It's maybe only the second time, third time myself. So I'm going to jump right to the first verse. I want to, I'll play what Suno was doing in this particular track. And then I'll go back and put what I did in there. Hear the differences.
Clean sneakers on a dirty street. Used to bleed for every beat. I was broke in a rusted van. Now my face is on a soda can. I was starving for...
Okay. Sounds all right. I'm not keen on the drum sounds themselves, but that you can always change that and do other things. But it fits. So let's listen to what I did, and how I heard the song. And what it was interesting on this one, I heard a drum machine in the beginning because we're really trying to deliver a message here. This is basically a song about somebody who ended up moving into pop because what they were doing prior wasn't working, for them. So I wanted to make it, at least in the beginning of the song, be as pop sounding as I could. So right away I thought, well, let me try a drum machine, a pattern, and work from there. So I did this.
Clean sneakers on a dirty street. Used to bleed for every beat. I was broke in a rusted van. Now my face is on a soda can.
So, yeah. I mean, I think that sounds better. It fits it. It gives it that whole vibe that I was hoping to get. But of course, I don't know. I just felt that was a better choice. But like I said earlier, if I had heard those other drums, I might not have done that. It would have definitely changed how I was hearing it. So anyhow, I'm going to jump real quick, maybe a little bit of the first chorus really quick here. Play these. And then I want to get on to the real drums.
I sold my soul for the radio. Gold records hanging where my heart should go. I sold the truth for...
Sounds cool. But let's see. Now this is still going to be electronic drums. I kept it through the first chorus.
I sold my soul for the radio. Gold records hanging where my heart should go.
So yeah, I like the vibe. I did like that more. So let's get on to the second verse, though, where things get a little more interesting. The drums are going to come in. Let's listen to this first.
They dressed me up in designer black. Taught me how to fake a laugh. I miss the feedback. I miss the sweat.
Which is cool. I'm gonna roll this back just a little bit because I did both a drum machine part and then the real drums come in, so I want to hear it a little bit sooner. So here's what I was doing, how I heard it.
Fire go. Where did the fire go? Yeah. They dressed me up in designer black. Taught me how to fake a laugh. I miss the feedback. I miss the sweat. The only thing I'm feeling.
So there's the acoustic kit comes in. I like that whole vibe. Like that's the way I heard it in my head. And now that I hear the real, the Suno take on it, I'm definitely happier with what I did. I mean, if leave something in the comments if you think otherwise. But I'm pretty sure. To me, that just seemed to be a way better fit, if you will. And like I said, that's what this is all about. I never would have had the opportunity to do that if it wasn't for using some AI vocals and working with my friend and so on. So I'm going to start. I want to just listen to the second chorus real quick because it gets a little heavier.
I sold my soul for the radio. Gold records hanging where my heart should go.
Fits just like the first one. Let's put this in there. This is with the real drums.
I sold my soul for the radio. Gold records hanging where my heart should go. Sold the truth.
I mean, I'll leave it at that. I mean, I just think it sounds better. Back to AI, is it? I'm not worried about it. Just like I used to be worried about drum machines, and the truth is, if you got real drums and they're done, I think decent, it's always going to be better. The question is, can you do it? I can tell you, you can look real quick if you see it. As drummers, it takes, unfortunately, a lot of gear. Everything about drums is more. I don't want to get into that here, but it is better, I think, if you can. The only other part I was going to touch on is I was going to go through the solo, but I'll just go into the outro part here. It was kind of interesting, the differences. Gets a little more interesting here. So Let's listen to the Suno version.
Ghost in a machine, washing my hands till they're clean, but the stain remains. Yeah, the stain remains. I want it back. The fire back.
Suno version. Let's go to the real drums. Stop bouncing for me, please. Here we go.
Ghost in a machine, washing my hands till they're clean, but the stain remains. Yeah, the stain remains. I want it back. The fire back.
So there you have it. I mean, there's a couple more examples, the solo and stuff. It definitely, I came up with something different. I liked what I did at the ending there. I think it's better. I do. It seemed tighter. Now, this isn't a finished mix. It's pretty close, though. It's pretty damn close. I might tweak some things here and there. I'm not doing this to like necessarily judge the mix per se. That's a whole nother story. But it's close. This is close to what I'll end up with. Like I said, I tuned the snare on this one very fat, way lower than I normally would ever do, but this song needed it when I first started out doing it, and I put the drum machine to it. It definitely made a big difference. I liked the way it sounded, so I was forced to then, go a less rock sound on the snare and try to get something a little more fat and deeper. And, one of the tricks there is tune lower. Luckily, I got a Black Beauty, 6.5 by 14, and that sucker will take a wide range of tunings, which is great. And you put a fattener on there, and you're in great shape. So I was able to get those tones. And then, other than that, I mix up my cymbals a lot for this particular song. I went with darker hats, and I can get into all that stuff if you're interested about gear and what I used. If you find it interesting, just leave me a comment of some sort, and I'll do that when I get time. But other than that, that was it. I just wanted to put something together. So, if others find this interesting, maybe they would. Or, like I said, I think people would have explored it, but maybe they haven't tried this just yet. I don't want to get in the whole AI thing. I'm with everybody as far as people taking AI, like generating songs like, look at me, and then they just throw them up there, and then they act like they're a band with fake bios, fake pictures, fake everything. That's bull. That's just, though, let's face it, that's false advertising. It has nothing to do with AI. That has to do with people being, basically crooks. And there's a lot of people that love to scam like that. They're always looking for the angle. And now some people are just doing it for their own personal enjoyment. I get that too. That's fine. But I see a part of AI where it can definitely be used by musicians and other, producers and so on. You just can't deny it. There's a usefulness to it. As far as a singer, if you're afraid, oh my God, they're doing vocals, I know I sense that because this is new, kind of, right? Everything else has been replicated by some tool. Drums, guitar even now these days, definitely keys and bass. Now, all I'm going to say is as a singer, like what we're doing here, we don't have a face to any of this. And without everybody, when it comes to focusing on an artist who sings and a producer, that pairing, the singer always has a face, right? This doesn't. And I don't think you have anything to really worry about. Matter of fact, it may be useful for you in the future, writing more material, when you have a producer you work with and they could have your voice available to them so they can work on material without you actually having to be there the whole time. And also all kinds of possibilities. I don't know. We'll see where that all goes. But I understand why people get upset, but I also see positives to it. Like every kind of tech, it's always the same story. Maybe I'm just more open to it because I saw what drum machines did, and I thought it was the end of the world in the late 70s, early 80s when I was playing as a kid. But it ended up turning out okay. It probably took some work away from people, but, still playing drums, because it is better. The question is, in these days, is it financially, it comes down to money a lot, I'm sure. Trying to track in a studio and everything's a nightmare. It's a lot of money. But a lot of people, like myself, now you can do this in your home. That's a whole nother subject. I'd like to talk about that, but you know, there's a ton of that material out on YouTube too. You can go find talking about these things. So yeah, so that's it. That's all I got. Like I said, if you're interested in other stuff like the gear and everything, just let me know. Leave something in the comments. I'd be more than happy to put something together when I get time. So that's it. Thanks, and have a good day.